of the Olson family. Thank you for being here. Your donation has meant so much to Drake University students and faculty members. The scholarships that we've been able to award with the money that you've donated has really helped impact high financial needs students. Since you've donated money, we've awarded about $10,000 a year in scholarships to those students who are participating on global service learning programs or programs that incorporate some kind of experiential learning with a global theme. Additionally, with the money that you've donated, we've also designed professional development programming like the Global Service Learning Program. So I want to tell you a little bit about this program since it's relatively new. We've been operating it for a few years, so we're starting to get underway, but I know this is the first time that we've updated you on the program. So it is designed for Drake faculty and staff members from all disciplines. So every department on campus is invited to participate in the program. They are asked to have an interest in developing or enhancing a travel course, a global service learning course, or some kind of global community engaged learning experience. So that could be either on campus in Des Moines, Iowa, it could be domestically within the United States, or it could be an international course that travels abroad. It is a full 9-month program, so faculty and staff are invited at the very beginning of the school year and typically meet by the end of September. So it really kicks off shortly after the school year begins and goes through the end of the school year. And there is actually also a travel component included as part of this program. All of the participants travel together to Tec de Monterrey, which is located in Guadalajara, Mexico. And this is one of Drake University's partner institutions. So we do have an exchange agreement in place where Drake University students are going there and students from Monterey Tech are coming to Drake University. In addition to student mobility, we also have faculty and scholar mobility between the two institutions. So really this is a strong partnership for Drake University. So we were very excited to have a professional development opportunity for our faculty and staff with this partner. And a little bit about the participants. So it has been running for a few years, but this year we have 5 participants. But I wanted to give you a little bit of demographics about those participants. So about half of them have never included service learning or a community engaged learning component into a course before. So this is a new, not necessarily a new concept, but something that they're really unfamiliar with in a practical sense. One of the individuals had never been out of the country before, so this was their very first time traveling abroad. 3/4 of them have been working at Drake University less than 3 years. So most of the participants are brand new to the institution. So this was kind of potentially one of their first professional development experiences, especially one that's 9 months and something this intensive. And nearly all of them expressed that they joined the program or had an interest in joining the program because they really wanted to learn how to incorporate service learning into a course. So really that component specifically really appealed to, I would say the service learning appealed to everyone, and a few specifically mentioned, I really want to develop global service learning. That's really a key thing that I want to do here, either for an on-campus course or I'm developing a travel course that I'm wanting to incorporate service learning or an experiential component to. So I have really 3 lessons learned. 2 of them are from the program participants and 1 is from the program facilitator. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about those lessons learned, things that we're doing well and things that we want to improve upon as we move forward with the program. One of the themes that really came through very strongly was that several of the program participants talked about this cohort model and how important that was to them. And if you think back to the demographics of, most of the participants have only worked at Drake University 3 or less years, this may have really be the first experience where they feel like, oh, I'm part of a cohort. So not that they don't necessarily feel that in their department, but to have a program where you really are working with people across campus, getting exposed to different people, I think is very important. So I've got a couple quotes here. The creation of a support group of global intellectual teacher scholars. One program participant really said that was vital to them, that they felt that was very important. Another program participant said that the opportunity to meet and collaborate with faculty outside my program in college was also just something really eye-opening for them, that they, since starting at Drake, they really had only been working within their specific program. And this is one of their first opportunities to really get to know people over the course of a year in other departments and find ways to collaborate with them, maybe even outside of global service learning. So really starting to develop a network for those faculty. One of the challenges, though, that was expressed as part of this, the facilitator mentioned that members, all of the members have similar goals. You know, they joined this program for a specific reason, but that they might be at very different points in the learning process. So again, going back to those demographics, you know, if you have someone in the group who's never been out of the country before, their needs are going to be quite different than somebody who has lived abroad, you know, for possibly years or traveled abroad, you know, 20, 30 times. And so their needs are going to be quite different than those who maybe are at different points in the learning process. Also reflecting back that half of the participants have never done service learning before, and half of them have. Again, for the facilitator, it's quite challenging that yes, everyone's on board with the same goals, wanting the same thing, but people are at very different places in the process. So, one of the initiatives that we're considering is finding ways to encourage faculty and staff to help one another. So, for example, possibly doing something sort of like a mentor program within the Global Service Learning program might be very helpful. So if we partner members within the program, so maybe somebody who's traveled abroad with somebody who hasn't, or somebody who has developed service learning with somebody who hasn't, might be a good way to take some of the pressure off of the facilitator to try to figure out how much content to include. Because of course, if you include a lot, people who have done it before might feel like, oh, this is redundant. So finding ways to really also, again, like build networking within the program. So if you partner people, that might also be a good way to really help individuals who are new to campus feel like they've got a mentor that can help them. Lesson learned number 2. So this quote, I feel like, helps illustrate this. I would like to learn more about the process for creating GSL curriculum that is meaningful and a value add. So all of the participants did mention that they would like more practical information. Really, I kind of got the sense that they almost want like a checklist of like, this is what I need to do in order to create a service learning component in my course, or this is what I need to do to create assignments that are related to service learning or to add meaning to this service learning experience. So I noticed that the program, from what I can tell, really is designed to help kind of theoretically give exposure to what service learning is like, more framework of what it's like maybe in different contexts, and then of course they're traveling to Monterey Tech, where they're learning more about how that institution is doing service learning on their campus. But I think particularly since some individuals maybe have no experience doing service learning, I think they really in some ways want it to be almost a more black and white process where they're really shown like, this is exactly what I need to do in order to develop service learning. Which of course is not always so easy to do because there are so many different types of service learning and experiential components. So I think we really need to kind of explore that a little bit more. So one thing that I think we could do as an initiative is to align the program description with the learning objectives. So the program description really does tell individuals that they will be, that they have to have an interest in developing a travel course, in creating some kind of global service learning experience. But then the actual learning objectives don't necessarily reflect that. It's more about getting to understand the philosophy behind service learning, behind experiential learning, critically thinking about those experiences. So I think we could do a better job of aligning the program description with the learning objectives, and especially given the feedback from the participants, I think that we should add maybe 1 or 2 or change 1 or 2 learning objectives to really make sure that we're explicit that we, at least one of our in-person meetings, where we are clearly covering sort of the practical, detailed aspect of how would I develop a global service learning component or course. Lesson number 3, so this was from the program facilitator, and I also thought this was kind of a key part of how the facilitator designed the program, as well as what I heard from the participants. So the program was designed thinking about how faculty could step into the role of the student. So the facilitator has been very intentional about wanting this to really be a learning experience. She wants people to come into the program and have an open mind, being ready to learn, wanting to get the most out of this experience. So I think that is really like a key critical part of this program. And one other thing that she had mentioned is she really wants there to be global to local connection. She didn't want the participants to feel like, oh, service learning is this thing that happens over here. And whereas I think, especially given like the different types of objectives that the program has, like it could be a travel course or it could be something here on campus. I think she was maybe not necessarily worried, but thinking about how like it could seem as though, oh, we just do service learning over here in these specific areas, where it doesn't have to be that way. You could do a service learning component on any course, on any subject. So we were really thinking about how can we extend the international experience so that it's not one and done. The international component of this program was a 1-week experience over spring break, and so we really didn't want it to be compartmentalized. So one of the solutions that we thought of is incorporating global service learning participants within the Latino community here in Des Moines. We have things like Latino festivals and I mean very active Latino community here in Des Moines. So we thought it would be great if we actually got them involved in the Latino community both before and after the experience, so that it's not just, again, this like one singular thing that happens for 1 week and then we're done with it. So this, I think, we think is a really good option for when we move the program forward. One final global service learning program takeaway: on a 7-point Likert scale, participants said their likeliness to recommend the program to a colleague was a 6.5. So the participants really do feel very strongly about this program. So even though there are areas for like room for improvement, participants really have been enjoying the program and feel like they've been getting a lot out of it. So I do think that they would be likely to recommend it to a colleague, which is wonderful. Any questions? Yes.
So do your two programs talk to each other? Do you link?
Yeah, I administer this one. I administer this one.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have a faculty that we hired.